Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, sometimes I go to these elder care centers, and then one day I saw in one side of that center, in their lunchroom, there were some tables, very luminous colors, strong colors, and at the same time, certain pictures on each and every table. So I asked them, why is that? So then they told me, oh, Venerable Sir, there are some people, they have dementia. They forget everything. But still they have some attachment and they remember some kind of strong colors, their favorite colors. Or maybe they have very few pictures. Remember their son or son-in-law, daughter, daughter-in-law, so husband or wife, or maybe their house, or maybe when they go for a picnic and whatever the pictures they took. So kind of like that, they have some favorite pictures and they recognize their table and their seat according to that picture. Otherwise they don't remember anything. So I was thinking, and when we get old, and what would be our favorite color, or maybe what kind of pictures we keep remember, or what kind of things will be able to bring our memory back or help us to recognize, and at the same time how it is possible that whatever we experience today, once this everything go away, how certain kind of things going to be with that us strongly. So when it come to the, the, the Buddha's teaching, it always mention, don't attach to this memory because it one day it's going to go away. And even yourself, you remember now, look at yourself. When you look at your own life, how many things you don't remember now? And but deeply, we have this dependent nature with our own memory. So if you don't release your mind from that dependent nature, from depending from the memory, remember, then in the future, you need the help out of something like that, the strong colors or the pictures or like that. But there is a way your mind can exist without memory. So that is what the sati, when you get into the mindfulness or the sati or clear comprehension, it is not memory, it is something else. It is the moment of experience. But the memory will distract your moment of experience. The memory mostly depend on fear. We hold it to the memory because of the fear to let go. Or this, we have fear to release the self-centered idea, this is me, this is mine. So because of that, what will happen? And then you lose the help out of your own mind. So in day-to-day life, you have to understand So whatever you memorize, remember, in a certain time period, it will sabotage you. It will destroy you sometimes. Because if you more depending on memory, trust the memory, how about once the memory gone, what will happen? So then in day-to-day life, you have to remember yourself. You have to develop a method to live a life without getting help out of the memory. So whatever you have, remember, it always for a certain time period, for a certain level, it's going to help for you. Just imagine this hand. So this hand here, how about if you lose this hand tomorrow? Still you're going to be. How about you lose your both hands? What will happen? How about you lose your both hands and your both legs? And how about you lose this all the organs? What will happen? So like that, but still we depending on this body, believing this is like so, but still there is a way that you can be your life, your consciousness, your awareness, not the hand, not the leg, not these organs, and it come out of this all. So then in day-to-day life, when you experience something, if you become very limited to that one thing, what will happen? You forget that all other things, whatever behind that experience. So the awareness or the clarity, clear comprehension bring this unique awareness, unique recognition. So to get into that unique recognition, you have to have the strong effort. Otherwise, because you cannot get out of this habitual nature of depending on the mind or depending on the memory. So it says, it's kind of like I was reading one article regarding this, how they train these snipers. And even though snipers have a lot of bullets, and they saying it always need to think they have only one bullet. See, even though they have 100 bullets with them, they should always think they have only one bullet. And also they have to think that it's a kind of like this whole group of people keep chasing him, and there is a gate, and in front of that gate there is one person, and he need only one bullet. So he need to protect this bullet, and he cannot just miss that. So if he need to survive himself and get out of the situation, he need to use that bullet exactly the 100% right way. So what it does, because it trying to bring the clarity and the awareness and the confidence regarding the moment. Just imagine yourself, if you come with your mindfulness, awareness, with the same kind of technique, that releasing yourself, your awareness to your sensation of inhalation, exhalation, knowingly, that is the only thing that you have to survive. What will happen to other thoughts? And sometimes you think, oh, I will do it tomorrow, I will do it next time, oh, it's okay. Even you practicing meditation, maybe you thinking something else. But how about if you come to the moment, this is the last moment, it's kind of like you are in the middle of the war. You have only one bullet to use. and you have one place to exit, and there is a one guard there and keep protecting that path. So you have to use that bullet. So that the same thing in the world, in the samsara, to exist yourself out of this samsara, you have to use this sati, or the awareness, or clear comprehension. That is the only help that you have. So, but the thing is, why we cannot get into this awareness? And as we know, remember this very, you have to catch this very carefully. You need some extra time to think. I just bring it as a practice point of view. Otherwise, it need a long time to discuss. But we don't have that much time like this. But whenever you have time yourself, you have to do a little experiment. So, but I'll bring it to the table. So, as you know, that you know everything change around us, and why we cannot see the change. We know everything change, and so when it come to meditation, and what we does, we come to that a point to observe and recognize the change. Why? Because once you recognize the change, the detachment happen itself. Collective nature disappear. Solid experience scattered, and self-centered mind release. So then we we are the result of change, and we live because of the change. We experience things because of the change. So then why we cannot see the change? Because we attach to the change. That's why we cannot see the change. So once you attach to anything, it makes you blind. It means your attachment, not the object. So then we like to see the sunrise. Why we like to see the sunrise? Why you attach to this see the sunrise? Because it's change. And you like to see the sunset. Why? Because it changed. That change, you attach to that change. Look at the ocean. Ocean means it's always change, but you like to see it. And so you like to see the change. You attach to the change. And maybe you watching the fish tank. The fish always go here and there. You like to see the elephants. Why? Because it's always moving. It's change. So once you attach to the change, you cannot recognize the change. So within ourselves, you're not attached to solid things. You attach to the change. So then you have to be very careful when you observe something. If you have the nature to that attach to the change, what will happen? Whatever you observe, and you're going to enjoy it. And then you don't see the change. You don't recognize the nature. Why? Because you're enjoying it. That enjoyment, it will block the recognition. So then how you can develop this? There is a Anguttara Nikaya, the chapter 5, there is a sutta called Chanki Sutta. So the Buddha beautifully explained this. And the sutta start like this. There is a little story. The village called Chanki because there was a Brahman. His name is Chanki. a very respectable old Brahman. And then that day they had a huge meeting. So kind of like a 500, all the Brahman gathered, and they had a kind of like a gathering, conversation regarding their teachings and regarding what they believe or kind of like that. So at the same day, Buddha also visited that village. So then the people used to go to see the Buddha passing this Chanki's house. And a lot of people keep going. So the Chanki and all other Brahmans, so this way, where are these people going? And then the Chanki went and asked, where are you all going? So then people told, oh, the Buddha came to our village. You didn't know. We go to see the Buddha. You should go to see the Buddha because this is a very rare opportunity for us. So then other Brahman told to Chanki, the Buddha is a young person. So you are very old and respectable person and everybody respect you. You should not go. Let the Buddha, if the Buddha want to see you, let the Buddha to come to you. Don't go to the Buddha. So then the Chanki told, no, no. He's a very respectable person and everybody go to see the Buddha. If I don't go, it is not good. So I have to go. So then what happened? The Chanki went and all other 500 also followed him. In this Brahman society, there is a nature. If the leader do something, all the followers also go with that. If the leader accepts something, all the followers also accept it. In the same, it's still the same today. So they are so faithful to their leaders. So the Chanki went to the Buddha, and then what happened? All other 500 went behind him. And then the Buddha and the Chanki had the very friendly conversation. So during the conversation, there was another Brahman, the youngest Brahman around that community. His name called Kapatika. So this Kapatika, youngest Brahman, but he's the very skillful, wise Brahman around them. And then while the Buddha and the Kapatika, the Buddha and the Chanki having conversation, the Kapatika, this young Brahman, asks, then he stand up and ask a question. Venerable Sir, that what do you think about this faith? So then the Buddha said, Kapatika, this Brahman, your teacher, elders Brahman and I having a conversation. Don't come to the middle. Let me finish the conversation with him, and after that I'll give a chance to you. So while the Buddha and the Chanki having conversation, this Kapatika, this youngest Brahman, asked a question. So the Buddha said, never come to the middle of elders' conversation. So then the Kapatika was so silenced. And then the Chanki told, the elder Brahman told, no, Venerable Sir, this Kapatika is a very wise. Even though he's young, he's a very wise and skillful Brahman in our community. He's a capable person to ask the question. So let him to ask. So then the Buddha said, okay, Kapatika, ask your question. So then the Kapatika asked this question. What is the question? So, Venerable Sir, our faith or the conviction can take us to the right thing, because that we have so much faith and conviction regarding our teachings. that conviction can take us to the liberation or not. So as you know, when it comes to the world, the conviction or the faith, shraddha, is very important. There is something. You should have shraddha for something. Otherwise, as a human being, it says you cannot live in the world. You suicide. If the person suicide, the main reason he don't or she don't have doesn't have a conviction regarding something. That's a one reason to they give up their life. It is that much strong, and you need the conviction or you need the faith. It no need to be spiritual, but for something you should believe something, you should follow something, you should practice something beyond your life. Otherwise, you cannot survive. You're not going to be as a human being. So that is one thing. So then you have to remember when we look at the world, see, people have conviction regarding spiritual practice and the political parties, or maybe sports, or maybe music or dancing or something, singing or something, they have the faith and their conviction, shraddha, and they devote to something. So that's why they survive. But it doesn't mean it can bring the spiritual development. So then how the spiritual development can happen? So then the Karpatika told, Venerable Sir, we have the faith regarding our teachings. Is that going to take us to liberation? And then he told, oh, then the second one he told, Venerable Sir, and we have our desire or likeness regarding our practice. Is it enough for us to gain the liberation? The third one he asked from the Buddha, this Karpatika young Brahman asked from the Buddha, Venerable Sir, we develop the, the ability of listening, because at that time there were only oral practice, no any written things. So it's called anusati. So we develop the anusati. Is it help us to gain the liberation? So then now he asked three things. One is saddha, that's mean conviction, and the third one is the like dislike, and the second one is like dislike, and the third one is anusati, or the ability of listening. And the fourth one, then the Buddha said, Kapatika, you ask three things, there are other two things. People get into something. People used to hold it to something. One is called akara parivitaka. That's mean through arguments and developing logical mind, and through argument, sometimes whoever win the argument, people accept that things. And then they believe that can take them to liberation. And the fifth one, ditti nijjana kanti. That's mean that whatever they believe, this is right. It's kind of like a self-centered idea of the view. Themselves, they believe this is right, I do it myself. So those are the 5 ways that anyone come to any kind of practice. So if the people hold it to something, it doesn't matter religion, it doesn't matter believing, it doesn't matter any kind of political things, economical things, social things, any sports. So this thing, anything, somehow people hold it to something using one of this out of these five. So first one, conviction, and the second one, like dislike, and third one, listening, and the fourth one, through arguments, the fifth one, with the self-centered idea. So what the Buddha said, Kapatika, to get into the right path, whatever the conviction you have, say that the Kapatika mentioned this all the five things one by one. So now what the Buddha said, Kapatika, to get into the right path or get into something, just conviction doesn't itself doesn't work. Why? Because that whatever you are faithful can be right or wrong. And at the same time, whatever you reject can be right. Maybe you have the conviction regarding something, it may be wrong. And maybe whatever you reject, it can be right. And the other thing is, whatever you like can be wrong. Whatever you dislike can be right. And as example, sometimes sugar we like. You know, when we eat, you feel good. Salt, you like it. But maybe it is not good for you. Maybe something else is good for you, but you don't like it. And also the third one, anusati, that what you keep listening may be not good for you. Maybe what you don't listen, what you don't accept is good for you. And arguments, whatever arguments that happen, out of the argument or out of the logical practice, logical mind, whatever you hold can be harm for you. And maybe whatever you reject out of the logical mind can be good for you. And kind of like, political leaders. Look at the world sometimes, political leaders come, when they come before the election and people go to arguments and telling, oh, he's the good person. So then after he come and everybody recognize that argument is not right. And ditti nijjana khanti. That's mean that whatever that we believe ourselves maybe can be wrong. And we reject can be right. So then the Buddha said, whatever that conviction you have, whatever the faith you have, itself not going to work. So you have to use it to next level. That's why in the Buddha's teaching, even though we start with the faith, you should not be limited to faith. You have to use that faith to gain the wisdom. It's like using a ladder. That you use the ladder, but you not should depend on ladder. Using the ladder, you have to climb to the necessary point. So like that, the faith will help you like a vehicle, but after you complete your journey, you have to get out of the vehicle. So like from your house to you go to market, maybe you need the vehicle, you go using the vehicle. But in front of the vehicle, that in front of the market, that doesn't mean you already completed that. So then what you have to do, you have to park the vehicle and you have to get out of the vehicle. So like that, but the thing is sometimes people hold it to faith. They hold it to faith, they don't go beyond that. So same like we We like sunset, we like sunrise, we like sun, we like the ocean, we like the change, but we don't go beyond the change. So once you attach to the conviction or the faith or the saddha, and itself going to make you blind. That's why behalf of the religions, people kill each other. Behalf of the nation, people kill each other. Behalf of believing, people kill each other. Even the sports, and they fight each other because the the faith can make you blind. So then you have to remember, whatever you believe, don't hold it to that place, and use it and go to next level. So then what the Buddha said, how you can do it? When you have the conviction, put it to like and dislike and see, do you like it? And once you like it or dislike, start to put it to listen and look around and see what other people talk about it. And once you have that, and look around and see what other people saying and how other people accept it, and according to that, put it to logical mind and bring it to argument and see. And out of that, bring it to yourself and see yourself what will happen. So rather than hold it to one, you have to use this all the 5 methods like a circle. You have to move your Shraddha rather than holding in one place. You have to move your Shraddha conviction to like, dislike, and listening and looking around others and put it to arguments. And then you have to come to a point to see according to your mind and what it is. So that way, once you come to that point, what will happen? Saddhanang upasankamati. Once you come like that, if you come with any idea like that way, using that all 5, it's like a blending. It's like a shuffling that the card pack, not rather than keeping one by one. You mix it all. And then after blending that, using this all the 5 methods, once you hold it to something, what will happen? Saddhanang upasankamati. Once you hold it to that kind of idea, you cannot stay without searching about it. Naturally, you start to look for that. And then, upasankamanto pairupasati. And then you start to go into places and the people, whoever practice that and follow that. Pairupasanto sotang odati. And then you start to listen to that people and listen to that things. Ohita sodo dhammang sunati. And then not everything, certain things you start to hold it to yourself. Not all the things that whatever you listen, not going to be with you. Certain things you're going to hold with you. Dhammanang attanang upaparikhanti. And then that the little things, certain things that you hold by yourself, you start to reflect on that and start to look for the meaning about it. Attanang upaparikanto sati upasankamati. And then you come to point to clear understanding, and that understanding going to bring the wisdom to you. See how the Buddha say, it is just not believing something. And out of believing, you have to put it to like, dislike, and listening and see what other people saying and put it to arguments. And then you come to a point to see if it is right for you. And the very nature of that kind of knowledge, it will start to take you out of the place wherever you are, and you start to look for that. And then you will find certain people who ever practice it, saying about it. And then you will listen to that people. And then out of that listening, you start to hear and remember certain things, not everything. And out whatever you remembered, that things you start to look for the meanings and search for the meaning, and then you will recognize, and that going to become your wisdom. So otherwise, just believing something and just following something, just itself you like something, just keep listening to something, or just keep arguing about something, or just believing yourself, I like this is the way I think, like that way, it never going to take you to your liberation, your freedom. You need the conviction, but remember at the same time, if you stuck with it, and it going to make you blind. So then whatever the conviction, let it take you to liberation. How? Using this method. So that is how, according to the Buddha's teaching, even regarding the Buddhism, even regarding whatever you practice, remember, use the faith, it is the foundation, but don't leave it just only to the foundation. It is the ladder, but don't stop, or don't sit on that ladder. It is the vehicle, so just don't stuck inside the vehicle. Use it and get into your destination and gain your liberation. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ittavata cha amme sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.